For decades, the focus of history courses are dominated by Eurocentric curriculums where Asian American and other American minorities are often left out. And despite making up approximately 5.6% of the US population, Asian Americans still remain underrepresented in history courses. The main focus of history courses have been centered around white American histories, while the same stories regarding other groups are told over and over again each year. And those stories are typically Native American stories and African American stories, because outside of white American stories, that's literally all we really learn in history. When Asian Americans are mentioned within our lessons, discussions mostly revolve around immigration and the Chinese Exclusion Act of 1882, limiting their understanding of their contribution to American history. When students are not seeing themselves represented in their education, it can send the message that their history and culture is not as important as white American history, and also can cause them to lose focus because they're not resonating with what they're learning. Because so little is being taught, students are not able to recognize or identify names and contributions of Asian American figures who have made impacts that are not mentioned in mainstream history, especially in our textbooks. And because our textbooks primarily focuses on Asian mainstream American history, they occasionally include information about African Americans and Native Americans while rarely mentioning Asian Americans. As a result, students are more likely to rely on outside sources for information, increasing their chances of exposure to misinformation and cultural stereotypes. Some may argue that diversity is already being covered in history courses, but this ignores the fact that Asian American history extends far beyond just World War II and immigration. A more inclusive curriculum would ensure that students learn about significant moments and figures in Asian history, such as the Japanese redress movement, where the U.S. compensated for incarcerating over 100,000 Japanese Americans during World War II. There's also Larry Itligo, a Filipino labor leader who worked alongside Cesar Chavez in the fight for farm workers' rights. Without this knowledge, students are left without an understanding of their own cultural contributions and their peers' cultural contributions to American history. To develop a more inclusive education system, history courses expand to a broad range of cultural contributions. Providing such content in textbooks can limit cultural ignorance and stereotyping and misinformation. A nationwide mandate requiring schools to teach Asian American history and make changes within a curriculum is also needed. There's actually a Senate Bill 5574 where parents, students, and organizations have come together in seeking a mandate for teaching Asian American, Native Hawaiian, Pacific Islander history so that students may have a better understanding of diverse histories in their education. To implement these changes, we must determine what is missing from our textbooks. That is important for students to know. Teachers should also receive proper training from the help of the Asian American Education Project to effectively teach Asian American history and encourage advocacy from parents, students, and teachers by petitioning for curriculum changes and urging school boards to integrate Asian American history into our education. If we were to advocate for more inclusive education, all students will benefit from the curriculum change by gaining cultural awareness and lessening cultural ignorance. Expanding history but beyond white American narratives will ensure that students will receive an unbiased education rather than one shaped by efforts to protect American history from being seen in a negative light.